Back in May 2023 I took my C5 along to Ipswich to take part in the Felixstowe Historic Vehicle Run, a route of around 13 miles. This year we had two very special examples, a C5 in black JPS livery used by Team Lotus in 1985, and another powered by a gas turbine engine. I'll take a close look at these machines later in this video. As the C5s assembled in Christchurch Park, I had a wander around the site to look at the vehicles. First up was this Bentley R-Type, and a striking red Triumph Vitesse. A lovely classic Mini complete with roof rack and a vast array of lights, and a beautiful Mark II Jaguar from 1960. This old Rover seems to have something familiar strapped to the roof.
Excuse me, you're not supposed to be riding in the C5 to Felixstowe.
Well, yeah, it's a bit tricky when you're trying to drive a car at the same time.
It's just you, is it? You've not got another person to co-opt?
No, yeah.
Yeah, because we've got 15 or 17 over there, you see.
Yeah, we've been
join in the posse.
I think it must be the biggest collection of C5s I think I've ever seen in one place. It's impressive.
Yeah, me too. I think we had 12 last year, and I was in the Queen's Jubilee parade last year.
Oh,
we had
okay.
13. So yes, I think we've got at least 15, possibly 17.
Yeah.
So it could be a record for modern times.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Fantastic.
Don't see very many of them around anymore.
And if you thought 13 miles on a Sinclair C5 was a tall order, spare a thought for the chap on the penny farthing. Back at the C5 assembly point, and I'll just show you a few recent additions to my own C5. I've got a reproduction high-vis mast. This accessory was designed to make the C5 more visible in amongst traffic. Down in the footwell I've moved the 70 Ah lead acid battery to the other side. This is disconnected and is a spare. On the active side I've got a brand new 35 Ah lithium battery. Moving up to the starting line, you can see I've mounted a GoPro camera on the front and on the rear of the C5. I'll release a separate video showing the entire road run. The route out of the park has a steep hill. Someone's got a squeaky brake. I can't complain, as last year my brake squeaked for most of the journey. I've since fitted a rear disc brake kit which has fixed this issue. It's quite exhilarating whizzing around on the roads, and the fact that there are so many C5s in the group makes us more visible, and probably a bit bolder. You can see how low down the C5 is with other cars all around you. As we pass a group of cyclists, you can see that they're much higher up and more visible to other road users. And we've caught up with a couple of penny farthings, making their steady progress to Felixstowe. By the showground we had a bit of a pit stop. Time for some maintenance on Mark's C5. I think he had some sort of electrical problem which he quickly sorted out. We had a support vehicle stocked with essential supplies, spare batteries, wheels and inner tubes, and of course jet fuel. Back underway, and as we enter the countryside roads, the gas turbine is fired up on Ian's C5. Time for another quick stop, and we're photographed by Jeff Welch, who kindly let me use his excellent pictures in this video.
you want to overtake, give it a burst.
As we approached Felixstowe, there was a bit of a log jam, perhaps the first ever recorded Sinclair C5 traffic jam. And finally everyone made it successfully to the seafront in Felixstowe. The C5s lined up in arrow formation for a photograph and for visitors to look over. I found time to talk to Ian about his impressive C5, which is modified with a gas turbine engine. So hello Ian and welcome to the Retro Workshop. Now you've been producing a little more noise than the rest of the Sinclair C5s. Can you tell us a little bit about your fine machine?
Certainly, yeah. So this started life as a normal Sinclair C5, but I found maybe not quite fast enough, so I made some modifications to it. And now in the back, it's powered by what's called a two-stage gas turbine engine. So it runs off normal aviation fuel, standard throttle grip, twist to go faster, and yeah, hold on tight effectively.
What came first, the jet engine or the C5?
So the jet engine definitely came first. So I had the gas turbine engine from a previous project. It actually used to be in a very large scale ready control helicopter, but I just found that too terrifying to fly. But I love the gas turbine engine, so I thought, what else can I do with this engine that's in theory safer? And I love everything that's 80s. So I thought, well, hold on, let me just marry the two together. I got an 80s Sinclair C5, which is just the most wackiest futuristic vehicle possible, and fit a power plant to it, which is perhaps more in keeping with the look of the C5. And so, yeah, after several, actually took a long time, a couple of 2 or 3 years probably on and off of trying to build this, it eventually came together, and now it's really reliable, works great.
And is it fair to say you don't use this for everyday commuting? It just comes out once in a while?
It probably comes out once a year for events like this, yes. It's not really it's a vehicle which, although works great and technically would be fun to use lots of places, it's not legal to, it's not practical to, and but events like this is perfect. And but yeah, and also on private property, airstrips, it's fine there too. But more of an object of curiosity and a great fun thing to drive.
Fantastic, so hopefully we can have a little look around the back and you can point out all the various bits and pieces.
Certainly, yeah, let's do it. Okay, let's open the back, see what's inside it. So I'm not sure what you can see in there, but down the bottom right is the gas turbine engine. Got 2 air pipes here. This one sucks the air in for the gas turbine. This is just a cooling fan, and these 2 fans exhaust hot air out of the engine bay. Most of it's concealed down there. It's not much space to put it in, but it does all fit in there just about, and it gets warm, but thankfully it's manageable. Okay, so as well as the gas turbine engine in this, there's also an electric motor too, because the challenge with the gas turbine engine is that although you get lots of power, you actually get it after you ask for it. There's a long lag when you twist the throttle to actually get the power. So there's an electric motor in there that fills in the torque initially to start with. You twist the throttle, the gas turbine spools up, the electric motor starts too, then after about 15 or 18 miles an hour, the electric motor disengages, and then it's pure turbine power from then onwards. So you get a kick from the start, and it takes you from 0 up to about 50 miles an hour. Okay, so we'll try starting it up. There's a bit of sequence to it, but normally it works, so let's give it a go. Just turn the gas on first. Turn the switch, and then give it 1 full throttle turn. So on the display here, you can see you've got various things. This shows the engine, the temperature of the engine bay, just how warm it's getting. 40 degrees, not too bad. This is the exhaust temperature. So it's currently at 480 degrees, it's coming out of the exhaust. And here you have some data on the turbine itself. So it idles, ticks over effectively at about 47,000 RPM. But when you turn the throttle, it goes all the way up to about 160,000 RPM. So it's pretty potent, and yeah, you can hear it certainly.
Well, that's tremendous. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you.
Cheers, Ian.
No worries. Cheers, Dave.
Next up, I had a chat with Sam about his recently restored Team Lotus C5. So Sam, another year, another Ipswich to Felixstowe road run, and this year you're in something a little bit different. Can you tell us about this black Sinclair C5?
Yeah, sure. So this is a very special Sinclair C5. This is the John Players Special. There were two made, one for Senna and one for Elio de Angelis for the 1985 F1 Grand Prix at Silverstone. So this is on loan from classic Team Lotus right now. The motor was broken. It had been kind of abandoned in the back of the workshop for probably the past 30 years. And yeah, I've spent a bit of time getting it all up and running, and it's at the show today.
And has it got anything special under the hood, or is it a fairly stock C5?
Yeah, so this is a stock C5. It is white underneath. It's all painted. It's all sign written up by Lotus themselves. So it's an original motor. Today it's running on a lithium battery. So I've tried to keep it all original. The only things which have been changed are it's got some replacement original tyres, and it's got some replacement brake lines on it as well.
And what would this have been used for? Obviously for John Player Special cigarettes, promotional use. Was it used for anything else?
Yeah, sure. So the details are a bit vague, but it was the 1985 Grand Prix. They had them in the pits to get around the place, but also the 85 Grand Prix was foggy, there was some rain, so to entertain the crowd they took both of these out and they drove them up and down the pits, much to the surprise of the crowd.
And there's a name, if you can just lean forward a bit to reveal, we've got a name here. Can you tell us who is Johnny? Do we know the story behind that?
Sure. So it's been a bit weird that there was the Senna and the Elio. This is the Elio, but it now says Johnny on the back. Now Johnny Dumfries was the F1 driver for the 1986 season, and they've applied a sticker over the original Elio name, but if you catch the light in the right way, you can still see the Elio name underneath. Now we've chosen to leave it on as part of the history of the C5.
Okay, so you've got this for a short time, and then what is back to Lotus?
Yeah, sure. So it's taken about 4 weeks to go through this to make sure it's all good. It is all original. Tried not to replace any parts, and it will be going back this weekend, just in time for the classic Lotus tea party at the Chapman's residence.
Great stuff. Sam, thank you very much.
No problem.
Well, that's it for another year, and a massive thank you to the organisers at Ipswich Transport Museum and to Sam from the Facebook group.